My wife slept with her boss and got promoted. She blames me for it, and she threw me out of the house. But she doesn't know that I secretly own the company she works at. My name is Frazer, and this is my story.
Frazer McElmore straightened his tie and brushed his hands down the front of his suit before pushing open the door of the business director's office at Philly Group. "How many times have I told you?" snapped a voice from within. "Knock on the door before you come in. How hard is that to remember?" "My wife, can you stop reminding me of the rules?" he asked, smiling bitterly. He had anticipated the scolding, but it had still hurt. Natalia Laples, the business director of the real estate group, glared at her husband. "You know, because I'm your wife, I've tried to cut you some slack. You've been working here for 3 months, and I've tried to get your name out there. Tell me, how many properties have you sold?" Frazer shuffled his feet uncomfortably and said nothing. "You haven't brought in even a single customer," she went on. "What have you been doing? Just sitting around like you do at home? With the current housing market situation, even a fool would be better than you." Hearing the volume of his wife's scolding, Frazer immediately closed the door behind him. At the very least, he couldn't let others hear the embarrassing firing he was a victim of. "Why do you bother shutting the door?" she asked mockingly. "Even if you shut the door, it's not like everyone doesn't know how much of a joke you are." She shook her head in disgust. "I was really blind when I married you." Natalia's heart ached as she said these words. She felt wronged. The two of them had been college sweethearts. Natalia had been at the top of her class and could have had her choice of suitors. However, in the end, she had chosen Frazer. Frazer sat with big dreams for his career. After graduation, he even started his own business. Unfortunately, it had failed. He hadn't recovered from the failure. Instead, he stayed home and cared for the household. He would cook and clean while Natalia worked. He had done that for 3 years until Natalia's family couldn't watch him being unable to bring in a more considerable income. They had given Frazer an ultimatum. He needed to find a job with a salary of at least $10,000 a month. San Clemente, California was a beautiful town, but there weren't many jobs that could pay that much. Thus, Natalia had no choice but to swallow her pride and offer him a job in the sales department at a real estate company where she was the business director, the Philly Group. Now, as Frazer stood in Natalia's office, she had come to regret that decision. Frazer didn't reply for a long time. He glanced uncomfortably at her. His heart softened, but he still felt helpless. "Natalia," he begged, "it's not that I don't want to work hard. It's that the sales manager always steals my customers." "The sales manager hates me," he thought. "The whole department hates me. That's why, from day one, I haven't been able to keep a customer." "Frazer, how many times have I told you? You need to learn how to be objective, take some initiative and responsibility." Natalia spoke with a firm voice. He sighed. "Very well. I'll try harder, I promise." She glared at him and then passed him a piece of paper with 2 phone numbers on it. "I don't believe that," she said coldly. "I'd rather believe that pigs can fly. Look, I'll try to help you out again. I've already talked with these 2 clients." She used her chin to indicate the numbers on the paper. "You just need to contact them," she said with an evident look of hopelessness. Frazer felt a burst of embarrassment, but he was also touched. His wife always had a sharp tongue, but a soft heart. After taking the piece of paper, he dejectedly left her office. As soon as he stepped out of the door, he heard laughter erupting from the previously quiet sales department. A salesperson, Tarson Linster, quickly grabbed a cloth and began wiping down a desk before running over and passing the cloth to Frazer. "McElmore, come on, hurry up and get back to work. You're so good at housework. Please, tidy up the office." Tarson laughed mockingly at Frazer before saying, "I don't understand you. Director Laples makes plenty of money. She can support you just fine. Why don't you run on home and get back to your classic housework and cooking? Why are you trying to steal work from the rest of us? You're worthless here." "Scram, Tarson." Joe Parker, one of the higher-up salespeople, pushed the salesperson away. Frazer didn't trust Joe any more than he trusted Tarson. Joe always acted as the manager's spy. He had directly taken customers from Frazer on countless occasions. "Ouch!" Tarson complained, continuing to say, "Come on, Joe. Why don't you push him out instead? All you have to do is hit him, and he'll leave." Carson had a cruel look on his face and even took a step closer. Frazer was used to their provocation, but it didn't mean he liked it. He glared at the two men and then turned around and headed to his desk. "Eh," Joe spat out as Frazer walked away. "That trash has really given our department a bad name." When the mocking voices faded and everyone started to get back to work, Frazer unfolded the note Natalia had given him. However, just as he was about to call the first number on the list, a large, middle-aged man walked over to stand beside his desk. Frazer peered up into the irritated face of his manager, Peter Earle. Peter glared condescendingly at Frazer before asking, "Macklemore, who gave you permission to use your personal cell phone on company time?" "I'm calling a client," Frazer said shortly. "Oh, really?" Peter sneered. "Do you really think that you'll succeed in making a sale? Why are you so stubborn?" Peter waved his arm towards the other salespeople. "Look at them. They can sell a property every few days. Then we have you. You're worthless. If it wasn't for the fact that your wife is the boss, I would have fired you long ago. Do you really think you can earn the same salary as those guys for doing nothing?" After his rant, Peter glanced at the two phone numbers on the piece of paper and grinned evilly. "Macklemore, this is your last chance," he said, issuing an ultimatum. "If you can sell 100 properties by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, you can stay. I'll even give you a promotion. If you don't, you can pack your stuff and leave." Peter closed his warning with an evil grin. A murmur went through the sales department as everyone heard the almost impossible task on Frazer's hands. Although the employees knew that Peter was determined to get rid of Frazer, they never expected him to be so ruthless by demanding the young man to sell 100 properties in less than 24 hours. The most that the department had ever sold was a combined effort among the entire staff to sell 89 properties in 2 weeks. Selling 100 in a day was an unrealistic goal. News of the challenge quickly spread through the entire building. Soon after, Natalia also heard the news and rushed out of her office. Although she knew that Peter was deliberately making things difficult for Frazer, and she didn't like it, she still greeted her sales manager with a forced smile. "Mr. Earle, aren't you being a little impractical?" she asked. "Do you think those numbers are actually—" "Don't say anything," Peter interrupted Natalia coldly. "Director Laples, it was because of that idiot that our entire sales department became the laughingstock of the Philly group and even the entire San Clemente real estate industry. Therefore, I have a responsibility to my team that can't be avoided." Peter stood up straight and announced, "By 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, if your useless husband can't sell 100 properties, then he'll be kicked out, and you'll be dragged along with him. Of course, in the meantime, feel free to help him out. He's going to need it." Looking at Peter's malicious smile, Frazer had the urge to punch the man in his smug face. But when he saw Natalia's unsteady feet, he rushed forward to support her. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. Natalia was still in a daze. She had come to the company soon after graduating from college and had worked hard to reach her current position. Now, in the blink of an eye, it could all be lost because of the ultimatum to her husband. "Have all these years of hard work just gone down the drain?" she wondered. "If I lose my job over this, how will we support ourselves? Will I have to rely on my useless husband?" This joke was quickly becoming not funny at all. The more Natalia thought about it, the angrier she got. She almost slapped Frazer. "Everything is going wrong because of you," she snapped. "Oh, Natalia, what's wrong? Are you angry again?" asked a voice from behind them. When Frazer turned and saw the young man who had walked in from outside, his expression darkened. The young man was dressed extravagantly. Even the sunglasses he wore were worth hundreds of dollars. He was Moss Ferlin, a junior executive of the Philly group. During Frazer's 3 months in his new position, he had seen Moss harass his wife countless times. It was a good thing that Natalia had some keen observation skills and could defend herself. Every time Moss tried to pester her, she was able to avoid his moves with great ingenuity and rationality. Regardless, it was annoying, and now that he had appeared at this awkward moment, Frazer had a bad feeling. Director Lapels, what's going on? Moss asked in a strange tone. Before Natalia could respond, Peter stepped up and immediately explained the situation. Moss nodded and agreed, but paused thoughtfully before asking, "But Mr. Earl, aren't you being a little too heartless? Especially by involving our lovely Director Lapels in your threat." Moss thought about it for a while and came to a conclusion saying, "How about this? Let me take care of this little situation for now." Immediately, Moss's gaze turned to Natalia as he sized her up suggestively. "Natalia, you've worked hard to get where you are with the company. I appreciate your hard work. You should understand this, even without me saying anything. Have dinner with me tomorrow evening, and we'll talk about how we're going to proceed. Perhaps I can think of a way for you to get a promotion. I think it's supposed to be cold tomorrow, so be sure to bring your stockings." He smiled provocatively. Natalia bit her lip. She clearly knew what Moss was suggesting. Frazer wasn't stupid either. He naturally understood the hidden meaning behind the junior executive's words. "Do you think I don't exist?" Frazer exclaimed. He could let a lot of things slide, but when it came to his wife and her dignity, there was no way he could tolerate such an innuendo. Frazer was about to explode, but Natalia suddenly stopped him. "Stop it, Frazer. Don't you think you've caused me enough trouble already?" She turned away before anyone could see the embarrassment on her face. She was confused and didn't know what to do. Glancing at Frazer again, Moss grinned. He leaned over and whispered, "I might as well tell you. I've taken a fancy to your wife and plan to sleep with her. Someone like you can't stop me because you simply can't compete." Moss left with a burst of laughter, while Frazer kept his head down. He dug his fingernails angrily into the flesh of his palms. Moss had completely embarrassed him and trampled all over his dignity. Later that evening, after Frazer had left work, he stood on the bridge and watched the flow of traffic below, his mind lost in thought. As his thoughts coalesced, his gaze grew colder and more determined. "No matter how wronged I am, I can still endure it," he muttered to himself. "But if anyone goes after Natalia, all bets are off. I'll personally send him to hell." He took out his phone, found a number he hadn't used in years, and clicked on the call icon. The phone quickly connected, and an excited voice could be heard from the other end of the line. "When I picked up my phone and saw who was calling, I couldn't believe it. Is it really you, my young friend? You finally called. Did you know Uncle Sam," Frazer interrupted the person on the other end of the line. "I'm in some trouble right now. I need your help." After hanging up, Frazer took out a pack of cheap cigarettes, lit one up, and took a long drag. He sighed. It looks like the days ahead are going to be far from peaceful, he thought. Members of the wealthy class never seemed to be able to escape from their obligations. Frazer had chosen to leave his family because he didn't want to live a life of deception. But now, he had to face it bravely because his wife was being bullied. After letting out a long puff of smoke, he put out the cigarette and tossed it into the garbage. He then got into his car and drove to a corporate headquarters building across town. It was one of the largest companies in San Clemente, and he had been here many times during the past 3 months because he had been in charge of distributing and putting up flyers. The 2 women who worked at the front desk always gave him a hard time. After parking the car, Frazer walked into the lobby on the first floor and was immediately noticed by the 2 women.
"Frazer, it's you again?" one of the young ladies snapped. "Do you really have some nerve coming here again and again?" the other announced coldly. "Well, don't come in. You're not allowed here anymore. Look at the notice."
She pointed at the board behind her, which had a black and white photo of Frazer mounted on it.
"Take a good look," the first woman said indignantly. "You've been put on our blacklist. I designed this announcement myself. How about that?"
Frazer craned his head and saw that under his photo there was a short blurb. He read it silently. "Frazer, a useless salesperson at the Philly Group, has repeatedly snuck into our office area to distribute unwanted flyers. This worthless person, whose wife has repeatedly cheated on him, is not welcome in the building. Recently, the women's restroom has been subjected to a peeping Tom, and we suspect that Frazer is the culprit. As such, he has been put on the company's blacklist. If anyone sees him on the premises, contact security or a staff member immediately." After reading the description, Frazer frowned and thought, if they don't want me to put up flyers, that's fine. But why drag my name through the mud? Frazer took a deep breath and resisted the urge to lower himself to the level of the 2 women at the desk. He ignored the notice and said coolly, "Tell Mr. Wilson that I'd like to see him. Now."
"Who's here to see Mr. Wilson?"
asked a voice from behind them. At that moment, a balding middle-aged man walked out of the elevator. When he saw Frazer, he heaved a sigh and said,
"Oh, so it's you. What are you doing here? Still trying to sell properties?"
The man walked up to Frazer and sneered,
"Maybe you're trying to sell your own property. Isn't it on the smaller side? Do you think my boss would like that? You're a fool."
One of the women at the desk piped up,
"Mr. Cole, I agree. Do you want me to call security?"
She reached for the desk phone and started pressing the buttons. Frazer narrowed his eyes, snorted quietly, and then he smiled. He took a step back and sat down on the couch in the waiting area. Mr. Cole and the others stared at him in surprise. "Well, you're right about one thing," Frazer said calmly. "I'm here today to sell my house to your boss.
In fact, I don't want to sell one property.
I want to sell him 100. With that, Frazer took out his cell phone and directly called Henry Wilson, the corporation's president. His tone was full of arrogance as he ordered Henry to meet him in the lobby on the first floor within 3 minutes. Frazer's actions made the manager, Robert Cole, and the 2 front desk staff freeze in shock. They looked at Frazer and how he was dressed, and marveled at his audacity. One of the women began to snicker. Soon the 3 of them started to laugh at Frazer. Robert was overjoyed at the foolishness of the young man.
"You want to sell the boss 100 properties? I'll tell you what. If you successfully sell Mr. Wilson your properties, I'll kneel down and lick your shoes in front of everyone."
As soon as he said that, a team of security guards rushed in. Robert was in no mood to waste any more words on Frazer. He impatiently waved his hand.
"Take him away."
"Not you again,"
one of the guards cried as he recognized Frazer.
"You may have gotten away from us last time, but you won't escape so easily this time."
Both guards advanced on Frazer as they pulled out their nightsticks to give him a beating. He stood and watched them step closer, a somber expression on his face. One of the security guards took a swing at him, but Frazer dodged it. The nightstick swung by him and smashed onto a glass-top coffee table. The glass shattered. "All of you, stop!" shouted a stern voice from nearby. The security guards froze, as did everyone else.
"Mr. Wilson!" cried Robert in surprise. "What are you doing here? Can I help you with anything?"
All eyes turned to the front desk, where Henry Wilson was standing, watching the unprofessional scene unfolding before him with disdain. Robert turned to give Frazer a stern look as he asked,
Why are you still standing there, Frazer? Get lost!
Henry's eyes widened in shock when he heard Frazer's name, and he stared at the young man before him. It's him, he thought in wonder. It's really him. Get lost? Henry snapped. You're the ones who should get lost, you fools. He looked around at Robert and the others, his expression livid. You're a bunch of idiots. Do you know who he is? Henry was dumbstruck. Frazer jumped in to interrupt. He didn't want too many people to know his identity just yet. Mr. Wilson, I presume. I hope that you're available tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to personally come to the sales department of the Philly Group to purchase 100 properties. Robert stared in shock. Had Frazer really asked his boss to purchase so many properties? He found himself even more startled a few moments later when Mr. Wilson spoke. No problem, Mr. McElmore. I'll make sure to be there on time. The onlookers gasped and murmured to one another. Frazer turned his gaze on the stunned manager. Well now, Mr. Cole, I'm an honorable man. I don't think there's any need for you to kneel down and lick my shoes. Your mouth is too dirty and smelly anyway. He glanced at his watch and saw that it was almost 6. He mumbled something incoherent about cooking dinner and hurried out. Henry watched in consternation as the young man left. Was he actually saying something about having to cook dinner? He mused. Why would someone of his power need to go home and cook something? He started to call out to the young man questioningly, but saw that he had already sped away.
Mr. Wilson, are you sure about all this?
Came a voice from beside him.
Well, that man Frazer is just not trustworthy. Or maybe it's a mistake.
Henry turned his cold glare on Robert. I think you're the one who's made a mistake. Head to accounting, collect your last paycheck. You will not be coming back tomorrow. That's all. After saying that, Henry left without looking back. Robert watched the president of the company walk away from him.
He just fired me,
Robert thought in a sulking state. His face paled as he looked around at the 2 women at the desk. They stared back at him. One of them quickly tore down the blacklist. The remaining fear in their hearts had yet to disappear. Both women were thinking the same thing. Who exactly is that guy? Frazer. The moment Frazer entered the house, Natalia's family was on his case. Do you see what time it is? Are you deliberately making your family starve? Asked James, Natalia's older brother and Frazer's brother-in-law. Dorothy, Natalia's mother, who was busy in the kitchen, stuck her head out and said, You're worthless. Do you think you're too good to cook for us anymore? Are you too good for this family? Mom, I went out to do something for work. You what? Natalia cried, walking in through the door right behind him. It seemed like she had been crying. Are you okay? He asked. What? She snapped. Before he could say anything, she stormed off to the bedroom and slammed the door. Frazer quickly finished preparing the meal before going and checking on her. He knocked, and then pushed the door open. However, he found that Natalia had her head down as she was going through her stocking drawer. Recalling Moss's words from earlier that day, Frazer was instantly angered. Natalia, he shouted. What are you trying to do? Are you really going to humiliate me by accepting Moss's invitation? If you want to treat me like a good-for-nothing loser, fine, but don't do it at your own expense and reputation. Are you really going to betray our relationship? Natalia was shocked. She gaped at Frazer with her almond-shaped eyes. That was the first time in her memory that Frazer had been angry enough to shout at her. Instantly, a strong feeling of resentment rose in her heart. Frazer, are you a man or not? She started throwing questions at him. You dare to be mean to me now? Have you even stopped to think about why I might be doing this? Are you really so foolish? Do you really think I would need to compromise myself like this if you had even the slightest bit of skill at your job? Was there a need to degrade me like this? Frazer was silent and lowered his head in shame. Indeed, he was well aware of how many times Natalia had taken the flak for him during the years he had been in the family. Hearing Natalia's sobbing, Frazer's heart softened, and his anger dissipated. He tried to reach out and give her a hug to comfort her, but she pushed him away. Don't touch me, she barked. I'm really sick of you.
After enduring for so many years, I'm tired of trying. If it doesn't work out, then do as my parents say. We need to get divorced."
Her voice was getting louder.
"No, I won't."
Frazer shook his head stubbornly in refusal. Natalia rolled her eyes in anger. For the past 3 years, Frazer never said no to her except when the topic of divorce came up. In these cases, he would become adamant in his protests. "Natalia," Frazer began, his tone softer. He slowly sat down by the foot of the bed, making sure that he didn't get too close to her. "Look, I know I've asked you to trust me before. Can you trust me again this time?"
"Trust you again?"
Natalia grimaced. She had already heard those words countless times, and it had convinced her of one thing. Men were liars.
"Should we? This house is 2,000 square feet, so why can't it accommodate the two of us? That woman is asking too much before she's even married. She's way too overbearing."
James immediately tried to protect his fiancée.
"Be careful, Natalia, that's rude. She's your future sister-in-law, so change your attitude. Also, you're already married. Just because you're married to a loser, you can't expect our entire family to support him.
Finally, Houston slammed the table with his fist and shouted, "Enough! Your mother and I have only one son, and we'll be leaving this house to him in the future."
Natalia, you're earning quite a bit now, so it's not like you can't support yourself, Dorothy chimed in. You're being ungrateful, Natalia hissed. I might have earned a lot, but I've paid more than my fair share into this family.
Seeing that his wife's anger was building to a dangerous level, Frazer whispered to her,
Natalia, don't argue with them. It's fine if we need to find our own place.
James looked appreciatively at Frazer. Previously, he was worried that Frazer was only after a stake in his inheritance. Natalia cursed angrily at her husband.
You're pathetic, she said. You're the one who said that I shouldn't allow myself to be bullied. You're just too weak.
She angrily left the table and returned to her bedroom. Frazer followed her, and soon, Natalia's indignant voice could be heard again as she continued to berate her husband from the bedroom. James didn't take it to heart, but when he saw that his parents seemed pretty disappointed, he said,
Dad, Mom, don't worry about it. Let's just eat. Although Frazer is a waste of space, at least his cooking isn't so bad.
Later that night, Frazer got up from bed, walked over to Natalia's bedside, and knelt next to her. He felt sorry for her when he saw that she was still frowning even though she was asleep. There were traces of tears on her face. He stroked her hair and mumbled, Natalia, moving out of here will be fine. Don't worry.
Discover this modern age male Cinderella story in the audio series Unraveling the Son-in-Law, only on the Pocket FM app. Download today.